Hello, good to see you all, as much as I can see you. We wanted to take some time here at the end of the school year to celebrate some of the great things that happened and to look forward to next year. It's been strange being in this closure to be separated, but we did want to recognize some really, really great things that happened this year. So we want to look back really quickly at 2019 to 2020, the school year that was. Our very first year here at Mountain Ridge, our very first year as a theater department, and some really, really great things happened. If you can remember way back when to August, the third day of school, we held auditions for a Shakespeare ensemble scene. It's the first major project that we did. We took an entire complete Shakespeare team to competition this year. We did really well. It was really exciting to see. And that's when it really struck me how special and amazing and interesting this year was going to be. On our Shakespeare team, we had students who last year were at 6 different schools. So we had students coming from different experiences, different training, different expectations, different backgrounds. And our very first project of the year, we pulled all of that together to have a successful Shakespeare competition team. To all of those who were part of that Shakespeare competition team, shout out to you. Excellent work. It was exciting to be part of. The next thing that we moved into, 1 week after we put the Shakespeare ensemble piece together, we held auditions for Sister Act. It was a really great process and opportunity. We had a large cast, bigger than I was anticipating when we came, but there were so many talented people who auditioned to be part of that. And it was great to see that come together. Shout out to everybody who was part of the musical this last year. It was great. We had 4 really wonderful productions that sold really well. If you can remember our closing night, there was a huge snow/ice storm. Special shout out to anybody who had car damage or who had friends or family who braved the weather to come and see our show that closing night and had car damage because they sacrificed everything to be able to see your work. And I think it was worth it because it was really, really great. In January, we took a group of students to the Utah Theater Association conference at the University of Utah. It wasn't a big group that we took this year, but it was really great. And 3 of our seniors, Mia, Rylan, and Katie, had the opportunity to show off our school for the first time to college and university reps as part of auditions and interview processes and made a tremendous first impression on those schools. They really help to define who we are, what makes us special, what we bring to the table as we introduce ourselves to outside programs to be part of, and we show off who we are as individuals in our talent, in our training, and who we are in our core. So thank you especially to the seniors this year who were part of that. Also at the Utah Theater Association conference, we also sent out a calling card to show our strengths and how amazing we are by having a student, Isaac Moss, who was awarded first place in the Utah Young Playwrights Festival. We hope that our participation for students in this competition will continue in the future and that we will continue to have really strong scripts that we share as part of this competition. Next was our winter play, Agatha Christie's Witness for the Prosecution. Shout out to everybody who was part of that, and congratulations. Again, I think it was a really tremendous way of introducing our program to our community. The show was a solid production, really entertaining, really engaging, highlighting the work of the individuals who were involved in it. We filled up our seating every night, and it was so fun and wonderful to sit out in the audience at times to hear them respond to these new revelations that happen, to these twists of character that happen, for people to be so excited about being part of the audience and seeing your work. Universal praise came to those who were involved with that. So congratulations on being part of that winter play. We didn't intend to end our season this year with our one-act competition. We intended to continue going on to individual events and other things that were going on. But shout out to those who were part of the one-act play. We were awarded first place in our region. Since we did not have the chance to continue on with individual events, we will just claim that we took first place overall in region. Huzzah, way to go. Again, it's showing off your talent, it's showing off your work, it's showing off who you are as individuals. Congratulations to those who were involved in the one act play this year. And I'm sorry that we didn't get to show off what we could do at state and maybe even bring home another recognition from that. Ethan Akester was given individual recognition for his physical performance. That was part of that production, so it was really wonderful. My heart is full when I think back on all the really, really great work that I got to see, not only in the competitions and the teams and the productions, but also in classwork as well. It's so amazing to see how hard you work, how creative and talented you are, and I love being part of this work every day. So congratulations and big shout out to everybody who contributed to our program this year, and especially to the seniors. You've done a really, really nice job in helping to establish our identity. Who are we? How do we present ourselves to our community through our productions? How do we present ourselves to our region, to the entire state at UTA and Shakespeare competition? You've helped to define us in a really, really great way, and we will forever be indebted to that. You will always be part of the Mountain Ridge High School Theater Department. Um, and so let's take a moment now to look forward as we consider what's going to happen next year as we look at it. I can answer this. I don't know what's going to happen next year, but we're making plans anyway. So let's take a look at our production season for 2020-2021. We're changing a little bit how the calendar is organized, and I think we've got a really, really great season. I've selected things that hopefully will challenge everybody who's part of it. Um, if you are involved in any of these performances, it will look at different sorts of skills and styles and genres than we did this last year. Um, I think it's good dramatic texts that allow you to approach things in really fun and different and interesting ways. And for an audience, I think it will be a fun season for them to watch. I did go a little bit lighter on our two major productions. They do have a more soft and welcoming and humorous kind of take to it, and that's what we want to share with our audience. But we do also have the opportunity to tackle some really tricky stuff in some of our competition pieces. So I think it's a really nice balance. So let's talk with our Shakespeare ensemble. This will audition within a week of school starting. And so I'll have the dates on the final screen, but here's some trivia. See if you can guess it before we reveal it. While the play is technically classified as a comedy, our cutting is high stakes and dramatic. So think about what it takes to be considered a comedy in Shakespeare, but realize that it's not necessarily a laugh out loud comedy play, and our piece especially is not comedic. When I was looking up trivia about this play, I discovered that the very first film version of this script, which was made in 1917, is considered the first full-length movie that was directed by a woman. She was also one of the lead actresses in the film, and she directed it, which I thought was really interesting. I also thought it was interesting that the play is named after a character who is not the protagonist, and the most well-known character in the play is not the title character, but it could be considered the antagonist. It's really sticky and problematic who this character is, how he functions in the story, and we want to kind of lean in with that a little bit as we look at that. So our Shakespeare ensemble for next year will be The Merchant of Venice, the courtroom scene, which is Act 4, Scene 1. Auditions for this are on there. It'll be August 24th for the initial auditions, callbacks on the 25th. We will present it as a parent night on September 29th, and Shakespeare competition next year will be October 1st through the 3rd. Everything that we have received from the Shakespeare Festival is that they are planning to move forward with the competition, and so we will prepare that. We will pull individual scenes from classwork from the Theater 3 and 4 class, and we will also plan on taking a Tech Olympics team to it. but this will be our Shakespeare ensemble scene. So if you want to do a little bit of research on this, take a look at it, Act 4, Scene 1. It's a very challenging and interesting scene, and we want to be very open and careful um, and cautious as we approach it. Some of the characters can be looked at in very kind of difficult ways in our current society, and we want to really play with that as we look at it. So, Merchant of Venice, our Shakespeare ensemble scene. Now, one of the big changes that we're going to have next year is we are moving our musical back. Part of it is because our pit orchestra feels like they will be more prepared, given more time to prepare, but also we don't know if there's going to be lingering limitations in crowd size or gathering size. So we are going to do our play in the fall, and we will do our musical next year that will perform in February, but we'll get there. The play will perform on the full stage to the full house audience. Instead of building the seating on the stage like we did last year for Witness for the Prosecution, we do want to allow ourselves the opportunity to spread out audience members if we need to in the fall. And so we will. It's also a play that requires more and difficult kind of set requirements than we had this year. So we want to have a little bit more stage space to play with, but we also want the house to be able to see people if we need to distance them at all. So here's what we're looking at for our play. This is a newer stage adaptation of a novel that's over 200 years old. It was actually written in 1814. The story has been adapted into at least 4 different film versions, which I was surprised to see. The first one wasn't until the 1990s, and the most recent one was actually in 2020. 8 different film versions and numerous stage adaptations. However, looking at some adaptations of this novel, I think the one that we have is the best one out there. The author of the original source material was praised by playwright Samuel Beckett for her characterizations and humanity. If you know Samuel Beckett, he was a difficult, absurdist playwright. It's really wonderful to consider that he, even though this is not his style at all, found real strength and beauty in how these stories were written by this author. And in terms of our storyline, it centers on a teenage girl who thinks she knows everything, but slowly and at times painfully, but humorously, discovers that she actually does not know much, especially about love. The play begins and ends with a marriage. So the play that we are going to be doing this fall is Jane Austen's Emma. We are looking at the adaptation by Michael Bloom. So we will audition this in mid-September. We will keep the dates that we had originally set aside for a musical, but we are now going to be doing the play there. We will hold a middle school matinee for this because we will have open seating since we are going to do the full auditorium. And I think it's a show that plays really well, especially for younger contemporary audiences. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then we will perform it November 19th through the 23rd. There are, I think, 13 named characters in it, and the possibility for a larger ensemble that will be part of it. And it's just a really delightful story. And it's so identifiable, especially for teen and high school audiences. I think that it'll be really fun to put together, and I think our audiences will enjoy it immensely. So then we will move into our musical. The musical will audition in December, and we may do a little bit, maybe a couple of rehearsals in December, but we really won't rehearse it much until January. So those of you who are involved in madrigals, other groups in December, don't worry about how you're going to manage your time. We understand that. We just want to get scripts in hand and things like that before we go to winter break. We'll hit it really hard when we come back from winter break. Here are our clues. It's written by one of the most well-known and famous musical writing duos in history. There are several well-known and famous writing duos, so consider that. I found this interesting. While the lead in this show is a tenor, the writers and production team were so frustrated in working with their lead actor in the original production, they wrote their male leads as baritones in the next 2 shows. Um, that's what a bad actor can do. It can completely change your practice. So don't be a bad actor. But realize that the lead in the show is a tenor for the men. Um, Internet Broadway Database lists 26 different Broadway productions of this musical. It's possibly the most Broadway revivals of any musical ever. I didn't go through and do all the research to find, um, but especially in the first 50 years after it was first produced, there were a ton of revivals of this show, mostly in the Martin Beck Theater. I don't know why there. Anyway, so our musical for next year is The Pirates of Penzance or The Slave of Duty, written by Gilbert and Sullivan. It has a more classical sound and feel than Sister Act did, but it's really fun, it's really goofy, and it's got some really fun parts and roles in it. So as you can see, our auditions will be December 7th through the 9th. We'll set aside 3 days to put that together. It's not a dance heavy show, so we may be doing dance and callbacks on the same day, or your initial singing and callbacks on the same day. We'll talk about this because this does happen several months into the school year and helping you to find pieces to perform with. Um, but whereas Sister Act had a very pop sound and we kind of pushed you in that direction, including finding Disney songs and things like that, this has a more classical sound to it. So we'll kind of help you find um, pieces that will help you out. But we will create it so it feels very contemporary and it play up the humor in it. It's just goofy and fun. We will hold a middle school matinee of this on Wednesday, February 24th, and then our performances will go from February 25th through March 1st. Yes. And then our last kind of production of the year will be our Region 1 Act play. This will be happening, overlapping a few weeks with Pirates of Penzance. And so this year we kind of closed witness for the prosecution and immediately started on our 1 Act. The 1 Act that we are doing next year has a bigger cast. It's a little bit more challenging. So we will be casting it while Pirates rehearsals are still going on. Um, and that means that we may rehearse Pirates until 5:30 and then have 1 Act rehearsals in the evenings a couple of times a week until Pirates closes. I'm really excited about this 1 Act piece, and I think there's some really great opportunities for people. So here's our clues for that. This is a play that examined lives during the Blitz during World War II in London. If you're unfamiliar with the Blitz, it's when the German planes would come and bomb the city every night, trying to destroy the morale of the British people and get them to give up the war. But it was amazing how resilient they were. The story explores the impact of war and destruction through a family and several different individuals. It has a cast of 18 total that we're looking at. What I think is designed is that it's a very episodic piece. We kind of see these moments. And according to the script, the description is that the stage is filled with rubble from various bombings. And as certain scenes start, the characters pull broken furniture from the rubble and set it up to provide the set pieces for the various scenes. One of the really exciting things about this is the playwright of this play is head of the theater department at the University of Idaho. This is a heavily produced play and has been since it was written in the late 1990s. But we have a connection to that playwright, and he was excited about being able to connect with the cast during the rehearsal process to just check in and offer suggestions and things like that. So the opportunity that we have to work directly with a playwright on this work is exciting to me, and hopefully will be to you. So the play that we are doing for our 1 Act play next year is called Front, and it's written by Robert Casely. We will audition on February 1st and 2nd. Region competition will be March 11th, which is obviously, if you do your math, 10 days after Pirates closes. So again, it will rehearse a couple of times a week in the month of February, but as soon as our musical closes, it will be rehearsing every day to get ready for that competition in March. State dates are still up in the air a little bit, but they will not um, conflict with spring break. So if you're part of this, you will not have to worry about that. And that is our season. So thank you, thank you, thank you for the chance that I've had to celebrate this past year. I'm excited to be able to look forward to the season next year and what we can put together. Um, and stay safe, be wonderful, and I can't wait to see you all as soon as all of this is done and we can get back together again. And seniors, again, thank you so much for what you've done to help to establish this program. You have left your mark as part of the first watch. So carry on, play on, and have fun. Thanks.